Yeah, Jamaican people play it. Yeah, it's like musician from Jamaica play that music, you know? And like musician from
Imagine finding a secret letter from Bob Marley hidden for 40 years. A simple piece of paper that could change everything we thought we knew about him. His music, his personal life, and even his philosophy suddenly feel different. Today we explore what this letter reveals and why it matters. The discovery. 40 years is a long time to keep a secret, but somehow Bob Marley's letter managed it. The discovery happened in a rather ordinary way that now feels almost cinematic. A collector of music memorabilia was going through a batch of old items purchased from a flea market in Kingston, Jamaica. Among dusty vinyl records, worn photographs, and faded concert tickets, a yellowed envelope caught his attention. He noticed the handwriting immediately. It was unmistakable, casual yet deliberate, the kind of handwriting that seemed to hum with rhythm and life. He realized he might have stumbled upon something extraordinary. The collector, who preferred to stay anonymous, initially thought it was just another fan letter or a piece of promotional material. But as he carefully opened it, the contents revealed themselves. The letter was addressed to a close friend of Bob Marley, someone who had been part of his inner circle during the mid-1970s, a period when Marley was both musically prolific and politically vocal. The collector described the moment as surreal, almost like hearing Bob's voice whispering through the paper. It was a shock to the system. The envelope and paper were surprisingly well preserved, considering their age, suggesting that the letter had been hidden away deliberately, stored in a safe place that had kept it safe from the passage of time. Word of the discovery spread quickly after the collector reached out to a Marley biographer to verify authenticity. Experts examined the handwriting, the paper, and even the type of ink used, concluding that it was indeed genuine. Social media exploded with early reports, though some fans initially doubted the claim, thinking it might be another viral hoax. Yet, as more details emerged and photos of the letter surfaced, skepticism began to fade. The news was confirmed by multiple sources, including music historians and members of Marley's estate. What makes this discovery so compelling is not just the content of the letter, but the way it was hidden. For decades, fans had speculated about Bob Marley's private thoughts, rumors, and unpublished writings. Now, for the first time, a primary source had emerged, a direct glimpse into the mind of the reggae legend at a pivotal moment in his life. The fact that it remained undiscovered for 40 years only adds to its mystique. It is almost as if Marley himself intended for it to surface only when the world was ready. Reactions from the music world were immediate. Fellow musicians, fans, and journalists all expressed astonishment. Some described it as akin to finding a lost track or an unreleased album. The discovery prompted discussions about Marley's personal and professional life, generating curiosity about how many other secrets might still be waiting to emerge. The collector, humbled by the find, mentioned that he never expected to hold such a historic piece in his hands. It was a moment of quiet awe, punctuated by the knowledge that the world would soon get to see a side of Bob Marley that had remained hidden for far too long. The discovery of this letter is not just a story about a piece of paper. It is a story about history, memory, and the lasting impact of a legendary figure. It reminds us that even decades later, the past can surprise us, and that icons like Bob Marley still have the power to make us pause, reflect, and marvel. 40 years gone, and yet the magic of Bob Marley's words remains alive and resonant, ready to inspire a new generation of listeners and believers in his message. The letter's contents. Once the letter was carefully unsealed, the real magic began. What lay inside was not just scribbles or a simple greeting. Bob Marley's handwriting danced across the page, full of life and personality. The letter opens with a warm greeting to a close friend, showing a side of Marley rarely seen in public. It immediately becomes clear that this is a deeply personal document, a window into the thoughts of a man whose public image was often larger than life. The contents cover several layers of Marley's life. First, there is a reflection on his music. Marley writes about the creative process, the struggle to balance commercial success with staying true to his message. He mentions how certain songs were born out of personal experiences, politics, and social issues, showing that every note carried intention. Reading it, you can almost hear him humming in the background, thinking aloud on paper. Fans have been quick to speculate which songs were influenced by these thoughts, with some lyrics suddenly feeling more pointed, more intimate. Second, the letter offers glimpses into Marley's personal life, including relationships with friends, family, and bandmates. There are references to moments of joy and tension, evidence that even a legend is not immune to everyday struggles. What makes it striking is the honesty. There is no pretense, no attempt to protect an image. It's a reminder that behind the dreadlocks and the iconic voice, there was a human being with worries, hopes, and conflicts, just like anyone else. Marley also touches on spirituality, a cornerstone of his life and music. He writes about faith, the search for truth, and the need for balance. It is not heavy-handed or preachy. Instead, it is reflective, almost like a conversation with a close friend. The letter shows Marley's connection to Rastafari, not as a performance for the public, but as a genuine source of guidance and strength. For fans familiar with his songs, these passages provide context for the spiritual undertones that run through his lyrics, explaining why certain lines resonate so deeply. Humor is not absent either. Marley peppers the letter with playful remarks, small jokes, and witty observations about life on tour and the absurdities of fame. It is a reminder that despite his status as a global icon, Marley retained a lighthearted and approachable personality. His humor makes the letter feel intimate, as if you are sitting beside him while he writes. Some sections hint at political and social thoughts. Marley addresses injustices he witnessed, offering perspectives on issues affecting Jamaica and the wider world. These passages confirm that Marley's activism was not just performative. His opinions were carefully considered, and the letter demonstrates his commitment to using his influence to speak on matters that mattered to him. Perhaps most surprisingly, the letter contains reflections that challenge previous assumptions about Marley. Certain details about his decisions, friendships, and priorities contradict widely held beliefs, adding a fresh layer to his story. Fans and historians alike are debating these revelations, excited by the opportunity to reassess the legend they thought they knew. Overall, the letter is a remarkable blend of music, personal reflection, humor, and social commentary. It is a rare artifact that gives fans, scholars, and anyone curious about Marley an unfiltered look at his mind. Its discovery is more than a novelty. It is a chance to connect with Bob Marley on a human level, decades after his passing. Historical context. To truly appreciate the significance of Bob Marley's letter, we need to step back and look at the historical context. The letter dates back to the mid-1970s, a period that was both pivotal and turbulent for Marley. He was already an international superstar, carrying the weight of fame while staying deeply connected to his roots in Jamaica. It was a time when reggae was becoming a global phenomenon, but Marley was navigating the challenges of commercial pressures, political unrest, and personal life all at once. Jamaica in the 1970s was politically charged. Tensions between rival parties sometimes erupted into violence, and the country was grappling with economic challenges. Bob Marley, as a public figure and influential musician, could not escape the political climate. He had a platform, and he used it. Concerts often became statements, interviews were carefully crafted, and his music reflected the struggles and hopes of his people. The letter sheds light on how Marley internally processed these pressures, revealing a side of him that fans rarely saw. Instead of performing purely as an entertainer, he was consciously aware of the social and political weight on his shoulders. Musically, this was one of Marley's most creative periods. Albums like Natty Dread and Rastaman Vibration had already cemented his reputation as a reggae pioneer, and he was experimenting with blending political messaging and spiritual depth in his music. The letter confirms that he was deliberate about his artistic choices. He was thoughtful about lyrics, melodies, and the impact his music would have globally. He was not just writing songs, he was crafting messages that could resonate across continents. This perspective helps fans understand why even small lines in his songs carry so much significance. The personal pressures were equally intense. Marley was traveling constantly, performing at sold-out shows around the world while maintaining relationships with family and band members. The letter reveals his concern for those closest to him. It is evident that Marley's creative energy did not come without sacrifice, and he frequently reflects on the challenges of maintaining his personal life amid global fame. The mid-1970s were a time when Marley was balancing loyalty to his roots with the responsibilities of international stardom, a tension that the letter captures in nuanced detail. Spirituality was another defining element of this era. Marley was deeply committed to Rastafari principles, and his faith guided his decisions, music, and worldview. The letter shows that spirituality was not just a backdrop for his songs, but a guiding force in his life. He writes about finding strength, clarity, and purpose in belief, emphasizing that his personal philosophy was inseparable from his music and public identity. Understanding this historical backdrop makes the letter even more remarkable. It is not merely an old piece of paper. It is a document written at a time of immense creativity, social awareness, and personal reflection. The letter provides insights into how Marley navigated fame, family, politics, and spirituality simultaneously, offering context that deepens our appreciation of his genius. This period in history was full of challenges, yet Marley managed to produce work that continues to inspire. The letter reminds us that while we often see the final, polished product of his artistry, there was a complex human being behind it all, grappling with real-life issues. Reading it today, 40 years later, gives fans a rare, authentic connection to Bob Marley the man, not just the icon. Impact on fans and the music world. When news of Bob Marley's secret letter broke, the reaction was immediate and widespread. Fans around the globe reacted with a mix of excitement, disbelief, and curiosity. Social media erupted with posts ranging from awestruck admiration to humorous takes. Some fans joked that Marley was probably smiling from the afterlife, saying, "I told you I had secrets." Others expressed emotional reactions, claiming that reading even a snippet of the letter felt like a personal conversation with the legend himself. The sense of connection was instant, proving that Bob Marley's impact continues decades after his passing. Music journalists and bloggers rushed to cover the story, analyzing the contents of the letter in detail. The media framed it as a once-in-a-generation discovery, emphasizing how it could reshape our understanding of Marley's life and work. Coverage ranged from traditional print outlets to podcasts and YouTube channels, each highlighting different elements. Some focused on the letter's insights into Marley's creative process, while others emphasized his personal reflections. Fans appreciated the variety of perspectives, and discussions across platforms became lively debates about what the letter truly meant for Marley's legacy. Other musicians weighed in as well. Contemporary reggae artists expressed admiration, with some noting that the letter reminded them of the depth and intentionality behind Marley's work. Music industry insiders saw it as a validation of the artistry behind his songs, reinforcing the idea that Marley's genius extended far beyond his vocal talent and stage presence. For many artists, the letter became both an inspiration and a benchmark, a reminder of the dedication and authenticity required to leave a lasting impact in the music world. Interestingly, the letter also sparked new interest in Marley's discography. Fans started revisiting albums with fresh eyes and ears, searching for connections between his words and his lyrics. Online forums and fan groups buzzed with speculation, comparing phrases in the letter to lines in songs. Some claimed they could hear echoes of Marley's reflections in tracks released decades ago. This renewed focus on his music illustrates how even a single discovery can reignite passion for an artist's catalog, bridging generations of listeners. Collectors and memorabilia enthusiasts also responded enthusiastically. The letter is not just a personal artifact, it is a piece of music history. Auctions and exhibitions are being considered, and discussions about its value, both monetary and cultural, are underway. The fact that it survived 40 years adds a sense of mystique, making it a symbol of Marley's enduring presence. Every reaction highlights how deeply Marley's work resonates, and the letter reinforces that his influence is far from fading. Even outside the music world, the letter generated interest. Historians, cultural commentators, and social scientists noted how it provides context about Jamaica in the 1970s and Marley's role as a public figure navigating politics, fame, and artistry. This broader perspective ensures the letter is not just a fan curiosity, but also a culturally significant document. Ultimately, the impact of the discovery goes beyond curiosity or nostalgia. It reminds us that Bob Marley was a man of complexity, wit, and insight. The world is connecting with him in a new way 40 years later, and the reverberations of that connection are still unfolding. Fans are not just reading a letter, they are experiencing a direct link to a legend, a moment of intimacy that is rare, profound, and undeniably exciting. The discovery has reignited passion, sparked conversation, and reminded us why Bob Marley remains timeless. Expert analysis. Once the news of Bob Marley's letter spread, experts were quick to weigh in, and their insights added another layer of fascination to the story. Music historians, biographers, and cultural commentators all offered perspectives on the letter's significance. Their analysis confirmed that this discovery is more than a curiosity. It is a key to understanding both the man and the artist. One recurring point from experts is how the letter reveals Marley's intentionality as a songwriter. He was not simply creating catchy rhythms or lyrics that sounded good. Every word, every note was chosen with purpose. Scholars noted passages where Marley reflects on the social and political messages embedded in his music, demonstrating his awareness of the influence his songs carried. According to these analyses, the letter confirms that his lyrics were not spontaneous bursts of inspiration alone. They were carefully crafted to resonate with the realities of the people he represented. This insight helps fans and musicians alike see Marley not just as a performer, but as a strategist, thinker, and advocate. Marley biographers highlighted the letter's contribution to our understanding of his personal philosophy. The document shows that Marley thought deeply about spirituality, morality, and human connection. In particular, passages about faith reveal a man who used spirituality as both a compass and a source of resilience. Experts explain that this perspective aligns with the Rastafari principles Marley embraced, but it also demonstrates a personal interpretation that makes him uniquely relatable. Instead of preaching, Marley shares insights with the warmth and humor of a friend, which is what makes the letter so compelling. Cultural historians also emphasize the letter's role in contextualizing Marley within his time. By writing candidly about politics, social struggles, and the challenges of fame, Marley provides a first-hand account of life in 1970s Jamaica. This period was marked by political tension, economic challenges, and social unrest, and Marley was navigating all of it while maintaining a global music career. Experts noted that the letter is invaluable because it offers direct commentary rather than filtered narratives found in media reports or interviews. It is a primary source that bridges history, music, and personal reflection. Some musicologists were particularly excited about the new interpretations this letter enables. They suggested that certain songs could be revisited with a fresh perspective, drawing connections between Marley's personal reflections and the lyrics that fans have sung for decades. The letter, they argue, is a Rosetta Stone for understanding the subtle layers in his compositions. It highlights his ability to balance message, melody, and emotion, confirming why his music resonates across generations and cultures. Finally, experts praise the letter for its candid honesty. Marley does not shy away from discussing doubts, fears, or tensions with band members and collaborators. According to biographers, this openness is rare for celebrities, especially icons whose public personas are so carefully curated. The letter humanizes Marley, revealing a man grappling with fame, relationships, and purpose, while still producing extraordinary music. It also challenges previous assumptions, encouraging historians to reconsider narratives about his life and work. In short, the expert analysis underscores the letter's immense value. It is a bridge between history, music, and human experience. It reveals the method behind Marley's genius, the depth of his personal philosophy, and the thoughtfulness with which he approached life. For fans, scholars, and musicians alike, the letter is a rare glimpse behind the curtain, offering insights that are as enlightening as they are inspiring. What it reveals about his personal life. One of the most fascinating aspects of Bob Marley's letter is how it sheds light on his personal life, offering glimpses that fans have long speculated about but never confirmed. For decades, Marley's public persona has been larger than life, dreadlocks, an iconic voice, and a global stage presence. Yet this letter shows a man who was grounded, thoughtful, and sometimes vulnerable, struggling with the same emotions that any of us experience. Marley writes openly about his relationships with family, friends, and bandmates. There are mentions of moments of joy and moments of tension, showing that maintaining connections was a real challenge amid fame and touring. He reflects on the support his family provided, revealing gratitude that often goes unnoticed when we only see the public figure. There are even playful anecdotes about interactions with children and loved ones that show his lighter side. It's easy to imagine him chuckling while writing, the humor shining through even on a page. Romantic relationships also appear in the letter, handled with honesty and care. Marley acknowledges mistakes, misunderstandings, and the challenges of maintaining personal bonds while living a life under constant public scrutiny. The letter shows he was conscious of the impact his choices had on others and that he valued emotional connection deeply. For fans who have read biographies or followed his story, this part of the letter adds nuance to what we knew. He was not infallible, but he was self-aware and reflective, striving to be present despite the demands of fame. Friendships and collaborations with band members are another focus. Marley writes about disagreements, compromises, and shared victories, emphasizing the effort it took to create music as a group. The letter demonstrates that relationships with those around him were essential to his work, not just casual connections. These passages humanize Marley, showing that even a legendary musician had to navigate ego, expectations, and creative differences, sometimes awkwardly and sometimes humorously. The letter also addresses Marley's thoughts on loyalty and trust. He reflects on who he could confide in and how he judged intentions. This is particularly interesting because it gives fans a sense of the careful balancing act between public life and private life. Marley had to protect certain aspects of himself while sharing others, a struggle that many celebrities face, but that is rarely documented in such an intimate way. Beyond relationships, the letter touches on Marley's daily life, routines, and personal rituals. From small mentions of meals and travel routines to spiritual practices, we get the sense of a man who found grounding in simple actions. These details may seem minor, but they paint a fuller picture of Marley as a person, not just a performer. They remind us that even legends live ordinary lives in extraordinary circumstances. Overall, the personal revelations in this letter are a reminder that Bob Marley was more than an icon. He was a son, a friend, a partner, a colleague, and a human being navigating life with humor, reflection, and intention. Fans reading the letter are not just learning facts. They are experiencing a moment of intimacy with a man whose words continue to resonate decades later. It confirms that behind the music and fame, Marley's humanity was vibrant, complex, and endlessly fascinating. Connection to his music. One of the most intriguing aspects of Bob Marley's letter is how it connects directly to his music. While fans have long analyzed his lyrics for meaning, this letter provides a rare inside look at the thoughts and inspirations behind some of his most iconic songs. It is almost like holding the key to the creative vault of one of the greatest musicians of all time. The letter reveals that Marley approached songwriting with both intention and intuition. He writes about specific moments that inspired lyrics, from political events to personal experiences. In some passages, he even mentions songs he was working on at the time of writing, giving fans a behind-the-scenes glimpse at his creative process. This is a unique opportunity to connect his private reflections to the music we all know and love, deepening our understanding of his artistry. Experts suggest that certain lines in the letter shed light on songs like No Woman, No Cry and Redemption Song. While fans have interpreted these tracks in many ways over the years, Marley's own words clarify his intentions. For instance, the letter emphasizes themes of resilience and hope, reflecting his desire to offer comfort and encouragement through music. This connection makes the songs feel even more personal, almost like a direct message from Marley himself. The letter also touches on Marley's experimentation with rhythm and collaboration. He writes about discussions with band members regarding arrangements, instrumentation, and the overall feel of songs. These insights demonstrate that his creative genius was not solitary. It was deeply collaborative. Understanding these dynamics allows fans and musicians alike to appreciate the teamwork and negotiation behind the music. It also shows that Marley valued input from those around him, blending multiple perspectives to create something greater than the sum of its parts. Spirituality emerges again as a central theme. Marley writes about how faith and personal beliefs influenced melodies, lyrics, and song choices. His music was never just entertainment. It was a medium for expressing values, principles, and messages of unity. For example, the letter explains why certain tracks include subtle references to Rastafari beliefs, not as a preaching mechanism, but as a reflection of personal conviction. This insight clarifies the interplay between faith and artistry in Marley's work. Humor and personality are evident as well. Marley includes playful remarks about studio sessions and tour experiences. showing that even while creating legendary music, he maintained a sense of fun and lightheartedness. These moments reveal that his creative process was not just disciplined, but enjoyable, a mix of serious artistry and joyful expression. Finally, the letter challenges fans to rethink previously held assumptions. Some songs that were interpreted as purely political now carry personal undertones, while tracks considered deeply personal also contain reflections on social issues. This duality demonstrates Marley's ability to weave multiple layers into his music, balancing intimacy with universal messages. Fans revisiting his catalog will notice new meanings, subtle nuances, and connections that were hidden before the letter's discovery. In essence, the letter transforms the way we engage with Marley's music. It is a reminder that behind every song was intention, reflection, and a human experience. Each lyric, each chord, each rhythm carries the weight of thought, heart, and spirit. By connecting the letter to his songs, we gain not just knowledge, but a deeper, more intimate appreciation of the genius that is Bob Marley. The future of the letter. Now that Bob Marley's secret letter has surfaced, the question on everyone's mind is what will happen next. Fans, historians, and collectors are all curious about the letter's future. Will it be displayed publicly, kept in a private archive, or even put up for auction? The possibilities are as exciting as the discovery itself, and the decisions made in the coming months will shape how the world continues to experience this remarkable piece of history. One option under serious consideration is a public exhibition. Museums or cultural centers focused on music history could provide a safe and accessible environment for fans to see the letter firsthand. Imagine standing just inches away from a document written by Marley himself, feeling the texture of the paper, and reading words that had been hidden for 40 years. Experts argue that a carefully curated exhibition could offer context about Marley's life, music, and influence, creating an immersive experience for visitors. It would be both educational and emotional, bridging generations of listeners. Another avenue is archival preservation. Some specialists recommend storing the letter in climate-controlled conditions to ensure it lasts for decades more. Paper and ink degrade over time, and maintaining the integrity of this document is critical. Preservation allows future scholars to study Marley's handwriting, phrasing, and even the choice of words in detail. By protecting it carefully, historians can ensure that the letter remains a primary source for research and understanding, giving insights into Marley's personal and professional life long after today. Legal considerations also play a role. The letter is part of Marley's estate, and any decisions about display, publication, or sale require input from his family and official representatives. Fans often forget that even historical documents involving celebrities must navigate legal frameworks to protect intellectual property and personal rights. Marley's estate is handling this responsibly, balancing public interest with respect for the family's wishes. Meanwhile, the music world continues to react. Some artists are inspired to explore Marley's legacy in new projects, from tribute albums to documentaries. Producers and filmmakers are considering how the letter could enrich storytelling about his life. Fans speculate about unreleased lyrics or new interpretations of existing songs, all prompted by the fresh context the letter provides. The discovery is revitalizing interest in Marley's work, demonstrating that even decades later, his influence is dynamic and evolving. Social media buzz shows no signs of slowing down. Hashtags about the letter are trending, discussions about its contents dominate forums, and fans are sharing personal stories about how Marley's music has impacted their lives. The letter is more than an artifact. It is a catalyst for connection, conversation, and creativity. Every mention online reminds us that Marley's voice, though physically gone, continues to resonate powerfully. Finally, there is anticipation for potential publications. Experts and authors are exploring how to incorporate the letter into biographies or analyses of Marley's work. A full transcription could become a valuable resource for scholars, musicians, and fans alike. The letter might also inspire artistic interpretations, from visual art to music, extending Marley's influence into new mediums. The future of this letter is exciting, multifaceted, and filled with possibilities. Whether displayed, archived, or studied, it promises to continue shaping how we understand Bob Marley. It connects the past with the present, offering a tangible link to a man whose words, music, and spirit endure. 40 years in hiding, and yet it has the power to surprise, teach, and inspire. Bob Marley's secret letter has finally come to light, giving fans an intimate glimpse into the man behind the music. What do you think he wanted the world to know? Share your thoughts, hit like, and subscribe for more stories that reveal the hidden sides of your favorite icons.